Hey Flosstube, this is Judy with the District Stitcher. This is Flosstube number 8. If you are a new viewer, welcome to my channel about the hobby of cross stitch. If you are a returning viewer and a subscriber, thank you so much. I'm glad to have you. It's been a really great community here on YouTube, which you can't always say. So it's really nice to be able to talk to people in the comment section, learn what people are working on, what they like, what they don't like, and just basically hearing from folks that are in this hobby with me. So it's a really nice community of folks. It's been a couple weeks since I posted. I had been trying to do every 2 weeks, but the previous, when I would have recorded, I really didn't have much cross stitch to show because I'd been working on some knitting and some yarn spinning and things like that. I just didn't have much of a cross stitching bug. You know, it comes and it goes. I think a lot of us who have multiple hobbies, we're like that. We get really fixated on one hobby and we work on that for a while to the exclusion of everything else. So I got really into yarn spinning and then I got back into knitting. And so that was taking up a lot of my time. And that Sunday, I usually record on Sundays. And that Sunday, we, my friends and I, we had originally been going to do this. That was a terrible grammatical sentence. Anyway, we were going to do this hiking trip in Shenandoah National Park where you can, through a different company, you can book the lodges. They're like little hotels. If you've never been to Shenandoah National Park, there's like little lodges along Skyline Drive that are like little hotels. And so you can book rooms there. And it was, you can book a room and then hike between the lodges. Which is really neat, but the weather was going to be really bad, so we just ended up getting a cabin in the Wintergreen Resort, which it's a beautiful place in Virginia, but it's funny because it's a ski resort, so it's off-season for skiing, obviously, so it's like a ghost town. It's a really neat place, and we definitely want to go back in the winter and do some skiing, and I bet it's just a really popular place in Virginia during ski season. But you know, when you're there in the spring, it's beautiful. It's on a beautiful mountain, but it's just, you know, it's a ski resort, so there's like nobody there. Just you and bears. So I didn't really feel like filming before we went out or anything like that, so I punted. And then it's been a long couple weeks, since then, and that was a little more life updatey than I usually have up front. I'll get to some life updates sort of at the end here, so I stop rambling on and actually get to the cross stitching, which is what you're here for. So with that in mind, I do have 2 final finishes, which is going to be really sad if I didn't have any, if it's been 4 weeks since I last recorded. So here is, if you've been watching, I have been stitching the monthly trio stitches from Waxing Moon Designs, and I've been just doing a real quick, simple, mounting them on some poster board with some fabric background, just some scraps that I had. And I've been just sticking magnetic, it's like a sticky adhesive magnet tape, has adhesive on one side and it's magnetic. Our condo has metal clad doors, so I can stick it on the door. I have a little seasonal wreath that I put on our condo door, and I just sit this inside the wreath, so each month it changes. And the joke is that my neighbor directly across from me won't know what month it is until I put up, you know, my month stitches. So, you know, I have to get them done, otherwise he'll never know what month it is. So, clearly, no one owns a calendar, it's fine. So anyway, here's May. I am still, one of these days, I will get used to the whole mirroring my screen, but clearly today is not that day. Let me try to get it to where it has less glare on it. There you go. So there's May. This is done it's on a, I don't think it's 40, but I think it might be 38 count Vintage Country Mocha. And it is stitched in, there we go, so you can see the colors a little better. It is stitched in Weeks Dye Works thread, and also some, I think there's one green, and it's the green that is the grass, not the border. Or no, it is the border and the grass. The stems are a different green. The stems are Weeks Dye Works, but the grass and the border are something else. I don't remember what. Classic Color Works. That's what it is. So yeah, there's May, which I didn't stitch until May. I kind of fell behind on my monthly stitches, and I literally just finished this yesterday and put it on my door. So the month doesn't start till I put it up, right? So we've still got all of May to go. At least I got it done within the month. Like, if I fall more than 1 month behind, I'm going to be sad with myself. Because I would like to get them all completed this year. I like having that little schedule. It's very satisfying to be able to look back on the progress. So that's that. And I will put up a picture when I show you. I started working on the border for June's. So I'll put up a picture when I get to that section. This next final finish is, I think I showed you the final stitches, but this is, there we go. I'm out to this. This was, again, one of these days. I keep saying this. One of these days I will get used to how I mirror the things I do so that you can read the text. Anyway, it was a little free pattern in, I think it was Cross Stitcher magazine. It was either Cross Stitcher or the World of Cross Stitch. It was one of the two British magazines that I subscribe to. And I like to get the print copies of those because they include these little kits. And I have a couple that I can probably show you of what it looks like when they're included. But they include like little fabric and threads and stuff. So this had the thread and the pattern was in the magazine. And it came with some Aida. And it was meant to be mounted on a card. And I decided I didn't want to do the card thing. But I wanted to stitch the little flowers, so I did. And I stitched them and on just some mystery scrap fabric. And then I have just mounted it like I did my monthly ones, right? Just on some, don't look at the back, it's so ugly. I just mounted it on some cardboard with some magnetic tape. And this is actually a belated Mother's Day present. I got my mom other things for Mother's Day. But I had meant to try to finish this and send it along with the stuff that I sent her. And I just didn't get it finished in time. So I'm going to mail this to her sometime this week. Or I might hold on to it and put a bunch of other stuff in it and maybe send it to her at Christmas. I don't know. We'll see. So yeah, that's that. That'll go in her fridge. She'll love it. So yeah. So 2 FFOs. I feel very accomplished. Alright, so let's get into, this week I was thankfully bitten by the stitching bug again. So I did do a lot of progress, on some stuff. So the first one I think probably has the most progress, and that is, the Cottage Garden Samplings Year in the Woods. There we go. Hold it so it doesn't get any glare. And this is number 1, the Fox. I'm not, where some things I like to stitch seasonally, I'm not stitching these seasonally, I'm stitching them in the numerical order because I need to, otherwise it'll drive me nuts. I don't understand the way my brain works, but anyway, so this is the Fox, and here he is. He's not fully done, it's mostly done with the actual fox itself. I haven't started on any of the background, but I stitched in, I think last time I just had the outline of the tail and maybe like a little bit of the brown, but I finished out, I went ahead and did like the brown and the orange and the yellow in the tail, and then I stitched out the gray in the tip so I could just go in and fill in all the white. So that's what I'm working on right now, is just filling in all the white thread on his tail, and then that part will be done. I can move into stitching in the trees in the background, which really I don't think should take long, looking at the chart. So there it is. This is stitched, and I'm just doing the DMC threads. And this is a 28 count linen from Picture This Plus, and I do not remember the color name, but all I did was just go through and look for a blue that I thought would look nice with the orange threads. So that's that. That is a really nice stitch to work on. The next one, I don't have a ton of progress on, but I'm mostly focusing on the fox, but I'm pulling out a couple others when I just need a break from the fox and just need to work on something different. So I'm trying to keep it fairly limited to how many I'm working on at a time. Otherwise, I just don't have the space to have a whole bunch of projects out. So I try to limit it to how many I'm working on at a time. I used to just stitch one and then finish it and then start another, and y'all have corrupted me with all of your whips. So now I am one of those whip people. I'm not like crazy. Like some people, I think they just have a lot of space. Like, I mean, a lot of the cross stitchers I watch don't live in cities. And when you live in a city, obviously real estate is at a prime, and so you're working with a lot less room. I mean, our condo it's a nice sized condo for DC, and it is, it's like 650 square feet. It's not that, it's one bedroom and a den. And I'm in a nook in the living room, so, I had some custom built shelving and stuff, and I love my space, but I also just I don't have a craft room. I have a craft nook, which also doubles as my work nook. So it's like it's gotta like have a multifunctional space. So I need to limit what I work on at a time. Anyway, so this next one is, you've probably seen it all over Flosstube. It is Hive Rules by Lindsay Waite for Primrose Cottage Stitches. And I didn't pick it up originally because I haven't really stitched a lot of stuff that has words. But I don't really decorate with bees or anything, like, so I don't have anything against bees. Bees are great. I love honey. But I just didn't, I don't know, I looked at it at first and I was like, oh, that's cute. And then I moved on. And then the more people I saw stitch it, the more I loved the colors. I really love the color choices. So I'm going to stitch this up, and then I honestly thought I probably wouldn't like stitching it with all the letters. I actually like it a lot. It's really satisfying. Because it's like you can really see progress, because it's easy to stitch the letters, and then the motifs are little, so you get that like very satisfying, oh, look what I did, like, because you can complete little motifs and letters, and then it's very satisfying. So this is, let me hold it up in case you haven't seen it. This is Hive Rules. And I've seen this finished a bunch of ways. I have seen people do like the sort of paddle thing. I saw somebody on Instagram had a really pretty frame that was the kind of match the teal color in here, which is, I'll probably finish it in a frame. And then I think I'm probably going to give it to my niece. She and her partner and their kids they just moved into a new place that has a lot more space than their old place. So now that they're in like a full house and stuff, I thought this would be nice for them to decorate with. So I will probably do that. And I always appreciate the bee puns. I think my favorite one is mind your own beeswax. It's something people say in my family all the time, like, that's none of your beeswax. So I think that's, anyway, it's just really sweet, and I like, sweet honey. Anyway, I love the colors, so it's been, really satisfying to stitch, and I am stitching on, I believe it is a 28 count Lugana. So that's nice to stitch on too, to sort of take a break from linen, and take a break from some of the smaller count stitches I have. So here is my progress. I also just love that fat bee. I love it. I took a picture and I sent it to everybody. It was like, look at my fat bee. It's just super cute. So yeah, there we go. That's a bit better. This has just been, it's a really fun stitch. I really like it. I don't, this needle minder was a gift. I think it's from Stitch Modern. I think she has it on Stitch Modern. The needle minder on the other one was a gift, that my sister-in-law just gave me from Etsy, I think she got it off of. I'm not sure. Anyway, so that is Hive Rules. And excuse me. It is, I'm sure lots of people say this all across the country, but the Mid-Atlantic region is so bad for pollen. So it's spring and it's been nice weather, so I've had, the windows open, and I'm just, the pollen, it's like the pollening. And I have bad seasonal allergies, so if I get a little snuffly or a little coughing and throat clearing, it's because the trees are actively trying to smother me with their pollen, which is very rude, and I did not consent. Anyway, my last sort of Q snap frame project that I'm working on right now, I will put up a picture, because I got the pattern is digital. So I'll put up a picture that I just screen capped off of her Etsy shop. It is Stitchrovia, and I'm going to blank on the designer's actual name now. But her designs, I think she's British. I've seen her designs before in a lot of British cross-stitch magazines. And they're popular in the US as well, but that's where I had first seen them. And there's a couple of people now that I know are stitching the Day at the Beach one that's sort of mod looking with all the people under umbrellas and stuff. I think Stitching by the Shore has that one. And when I saw her working on that, I was like, oh yeah, I like that designer's stuff. I forgot about her because I had seen it in a previous edition of, I think, Cross Stitcher magazine. So then I looked her up I didn't realize she was on Etsy. And it was because I was watching Stitching by the Shore that I saw that. So I looked her up and I bought some of my favorite patterns. And this one is the Strawberries and Cream pattern. And when it's done, it's going to be for my sister, who is, and always has been, obsessed with strawberries. Like, you think you like strawberries, but you don't know how much a person can obsess over strawberries unless you know my sister. So, this is the progress. So it's not a ton. I started it last night. But it is, this is a really nice, it is a 36 count linen from Picture This Plus, and I don't think the camera's really going to pick it up. It might just kind of look like shadows there, but it's a cream color, and it's got this like blue-gray, very light modeling on it. So it's got some texture to it, which is what I was looking for, because I wanted it to have a little bit of, not grunge, but just a little bit of texture so that it would sort of, because the design of it is very sort of old-fashioned Victorian ad. So I wanted it to kind of have sort of that effect, but without going as full on grunge as like Vintage Country Mocha or something. So this is called Tycho, Tycho. It's by Picture This Plus. And again, this is a 36 count. I am using 2 threads. It doesn't feel too tight, and I think this design is loose enough that it won't feel too packed. And I like the fullness of it in the stitches. So yeah, this has been fun to stitch as well. It is something where I have to like constantly just double check when you're doing the letters. You really need to make sure that you're not losing your place, or the letter will go all wonky. But it's a fun one, and I love the colors are very bright, very fun. So it's a good spring stitch. And the last one that I'll bring up here, the needle minder on here is just one that my friend made for me. She just clipped the little jar with the universe in it. She just clipped the back off a pin and glued magnets on. So, which is what most of those needle minders are. So this next one is, hold on, I've got the thread. I just popped in a small embroidery frame. This is my last sort of whip that I'm working on right now, and this is June. So again, I will pop up a little picture of what it will look like. This is by Waxing Moon Designs, and this is just, you know, just a little bit of, no, I need something behind that. I don't have, I'll use a notebook. I don't, oh, there we go. Not a huge start, just the border. I've done enough of these now that I don't even need to look at the pattern for the border. I know exactly how many stitches across it is. Each border is 10 of those little triangle motifs. It's like 10 of those across and 14 down. Like, I can just count. It's fine. I don't need to really look at the pattern for that. But this is me trying to get June done before June so that I can actually have it on my door on June 1st like I did with the other months, so I'm not still behind on my stitching. So those are my whips. That's really all I've been working on cross stitch wise. I feel like that's pretty decent progress though, so I feel pretty good about that. The other thing I've been doing, like I mentioned in the last video, is spinning. I've just become obsessed with it because I love seeing it's I bought myself a new spindle and I love the spindle. It's got these grooves on the edge so that my yarn as I'm spinning it never slips off. So it's really fun. This is the fun blend of merino, commercially dyed merino that's blended into these colors by this shop on Etsy called One Thursday. But it's fun because then I can see, oh, I have another one here. It's really fun for me to then see how it spins up. Like when I apply it together, I like seeing how the colors come together in a yarn. And this was also a blend. Actually, I have another roll of it. So this was another one of those like blends of commercially dyed fibers by One Thursday. And then this is how I spun it and how I applied it together to make a yarn. So, and it's so soft. So that's what I've been focusing on. And a couple weeks ago was on May 6th, we went to the Maryland Sheep and Wool Festival, which I bought. Now it's buried under other stuff. I'm not going to get it out. I bought way too much. In the sense, I didn't actually buy that much, but like I didn't really need any more yarn. I have plenty. But no one really needs yarn, you know. And I got this t-shirt that says, "Protect your rights like you protect your stash." It's from Neighborhood Fiber Company, which is a business in Baltimore. She's a dyer. Actually, let me pause it. I will show you my yarns that I got from her because they're really pretty. Okay, I'm back. I picked out some yarns there's a couple different knitting projects that I like that use sock weight yarn. And when I'm doing sort of lace projects, I actually like using sock weight yarn. I hate knitting with lace weight yarn. It always breaks on me. I'm too tight a knitter. So anyway, she is a dyer and she names all her colorways after neighborhoods in the Baltimore, D.C. area. So this is Truxton Circle, which is a neighborhood. This is Patterson Park, and so on. So I got this purple in with this sort of blend. I'm not sure if the camera will really pick it up, but this blend has some purple in it. So this will be a really nice, there we go. I'm going to use those together in a project. There's two different scarves that use two colors that I like, and I have knit before. And then this one as well, and this will be sort of a more subtle combination. So that was, and then there's her logo, Neighborhood Fiber Company. I think you can buy her stuff online. But she was at the Maryland Sheep and Wool Festival, and I had years ago bought yarn from her. I think when she was first starting, I don't think she didn't have a shop at that point. And she was just basically operating out of her home. And I always really liked her colors. So it's really nice to see that business that, I had bought stuff from in 2010, 2011, years ago, from a yarn shop in Old Town Alexandria. And it's really nice to see that she's not only still in business and thriving, but really growing, because now they have a storefront in Baltimore. She's got a whole crew of people. Like, it's really cool. I'm really glad to see it. It makes me happy. So that was fun. A couple other fun things, just getting together with friends, but the biggest thing that happened is, this is going around, I got laid off. So, the company I worked for, my position, it's just going through a reorganization, and then my position was no longer, with the company. Like, they eliminated my position. So, I got laid off. I got severance. Like, I'm fine. We're fine. It's just, it was one of those things where, like, I'm an adult. I'm not mad about it. Like, we're all adults. Companies change. Companies grow. Like, and sometimes they go in different directions. And it still kind of sucks because nobody likes to job hunt. Job hunting sucks. Because I hate resume writing. I hate actually cover letter writing. Is just the worst. It's like pulling teeth. But, you do what you gotta do. And I've had a couple really good sort of, informational interviews and stuff, with some recruiters that have done, that have pumped me up, which is really nice. But it was just funny because it's just the adjustment of being on a daily schedule and then the adjustment of not having a schedule. It was like my last week at work, I thought I was going to be very mopey, even though I telework, so I wasn't in an office, which in some ways made that last week a little easier, that I didn't have to have constant personal interaction knowing that I'm out the door. So that was nice, actually. But I really thought that I was just going to end up being really mopey. And I was fine the last week. I was like planning ahead. I had all these strategies and stuff. And then what happened was the first week that I was no longer an employee. So it was the Monday after. It was the Monday after the Sheep and Wool Festival. And I was just, like, that entire week, all I did was sit on the couch and read. Because I just couldn't do anything else. Because I'm like, I don't know what to do with myself. Who am I? What am I? It was just like this sort of almost like detoxing from having a schedule and to not having a schedule. And, yeah, I did some book therapy. So, I would say, out of that, I will highly recommend, let me go ahead and pop in a picture here, highly, highly, highly recommend Emily Henry's Book Lovers. I would show you the book, except I lent it to a friend. So, because immediately I was like, I stayed up all night reading this book. I stayed up till like 3 a.m. to finish that book because it was so good. It was, when I feel depressed, or, it is Mental Health Awareness Month, so, depression, anxiety, all of these are things that we go through. It is a completely normal process, and it is, it is something that you should never be ashamed to talk about, to seek help for, whether that's talking to a therapist, whether that's talking to your doctor. I have generalized anxiety disorder, and I also have PTSD from some medical trauma. And I am not ashamed of that. It is just simply how I am. It's how my brain is wired. So I do require medication to basically keep my anxiety from eating my brain, is what it feels like. So that I have brain power to focus on things that are outside of just all these random worries that are constantly in my head. So that's not something to be ashamed of. That's just that's how brains work. And so I was going through, something. I had a moment. It's okay. And so when I'm in that sort of state, what I want is like cheap dopamine in book form. So I want rom-coms. I want it funny, and I want it smutty. So that's what I want. In Book Lovers, I was expecting to be, kind of funny, kind of light, just nothing that I really need to, like, not a literary thing that I need to dive into and have deep feelings about. Like, I want a bag of chips. I don't want a 4-course meal. Sometimes I want a 4-course meal, and sometimes I want junk food. So this is the book equivalent of, like, I wanted junk food. I wanted junk food, and I ended up with more of a meal than I expected, because this book was excellent. It was such, it hit all the bullet points for, romance, for the genre. It also kind of made fun of some of the bullet points for the romance genre, like, so it didn't take itself too seriously in that respect, but it also really had this excellent sub-story of the relationship between these two sisters. So, one of which is the heroine of the book, in the romance sense, the heroine of the book, who is sort of going through this, she is a self-described city person, the one that the hero leaves behind in a small town romance, where they like move to a small town and fall in love with someone who owns a Christmas tree farm or something Hallmarky. They are the city girlfriend that gets left. And so she's a book agent, and the sort of love interest of it is a book editor. So it also is like it's this love story of books and fiction and literature, and also the story of how this woman relates to herself, like through the sort of like the story she's written for herself and how she fits in, and then also how she relates to it through her sister. And it's about their relationship, and it's about family, and it's about, fixing that as well. And so it just had this, it had this heart to it. And it also was a love letter to New York, and it just all around, it was a great book. So I would highly recommend it. Good light read, is very steamy in parts. So if that's not your thing, maybe skip it or just skip through those scenes, because I think it would be worth it. I like it smutty and I like it steamy, so that didn't bother me. But your taste may vary, and that's also perfectly fine. Some people like their romance a little on the clean side. I like mine dipped in the trash. So that is just all personal preference. With that, I was going somewhere with that. Oh, just the being laid off. I've put myself on a new schedule, because I am a Virgo who does Virgo things, like make lists of lists. I have to have a schedule. So I put myself on a schedule for, a couple days of the week when I feel most productive. At the start of the week, I'm going to be really focusing on the job hunting. And it's less of an all-around job hunt. It's more of like, I know to pinpoint where I want to network, and what I want to sort of slot into next. And so I'll be working on that. And then sort of like middle of the week, I'll be doing professional development stuff, different certifications, classes, whatnot. And then Friday, I'm going to reserve for crafting, writing, whatever sort of creative endeavor I want to sort of focus on. And then weekends, I get to do what I want because it's a weekend. So that's my schedule, and it's going to work for me, and everything will go well. And that is where I am. That's sort of the story of why it took me a little while to post a new video, but, stuff happens. And it's all cool now. So, yeah, I hope that you enjoy your upcoming Memorial Day weekend, and get out, enjoy spring weather, even though if you're like me, you kind of have to do it through. I have actually found the old cloth masks that I made during the pandemic, during the lockdown portions. If it's a really high pollen count day, if I'm outside, I will bring out one of those cloth masks because it just helps filter out the pollen. It feels like. I don't know. It could be an absolute, like, sugar pill of a solution for me. Like, it may not actually do anything in terms of pollen, but I feel like it does, so, you know. Otherwise, I just take Claritin and Flonase and suffer. So, but, you know, it's spring. It's worth it. Everything's green and pretty, so get out there and enjoy it. This has been the District Stitcher. I'm Judy. Thanks for watching. Hit like and subscribe if this is your jam. If it's not, it's totally cool. So anyway, have a great week.